So, you just bought a Roomba. Congratulations! But what do you do with this mysterious disc? Frisbee golf? Maybe not. It's heavier than it looks, so you can probably find something more aerodynamic. Perhaps a Frisbee.
Go in the bucket!
The Roomba's got wheels. Can you ride it? If you're a cat, then yes. If you're a human, you can use it to automatically clean your floors. Let me tell you about that and everything else you need to know to get the most out of your Roomba right now. Hi, I'm Andrew from Apt. This is the Roomba J7, and this is the Roomba Combo J7. They're both Roombas. They both have almost all of the same functionality. They even use the same vacuum as a base. This one just has a cute little mop attachment. Since they're two iterations of essentially the same machine, we'll talk about them both together. And we'll hope that they're the kind of siblings that get along in close proximity instead of the type that just know exactly how to push your buttons. Such as, this start button. No, it might start going there. We'll talk about how to actually make it go and what to think about if you're still making a buying decision, but only briefly. This video is mostly for you ambassador to robot kind. Basic setup, mapping your home, touring the app, Mop-specific stuff, maintenance, and accessories. We got a lot to cover. Check out the time codes below if you need something specific. Let's go. The basics. This is a Roomba. The term Roomba has become synonymous with robot vacuums like Kleenex or Band-Aid, but these are both actually Roombas. It's the robot vacuum brand from iRobot, which is a tech company founded by roboticists. This guy is actually called the Roomba J7 Plus, and this is the Combo J7 Plus. The plus sign means the vacuums also come with the cool base station that can charge and automatically empty the dust bin of your new robot pal. They have high-tech gyroscopes and a cam on the front to help them navigate and avoid obstacles. They automatically map your floors as they work, and then you can label different rooms and send them to spot clean that room. They can connect to your smart speakers from Amazon and Google. Generally, you're controlling them with an app or with voice commands, but you do have this button on top too. You can press it to start a run. You can also hold the button down for a few seconds to end a job and send it back to the base station. This one has a mop attachment to do an extra chore while it's in action. They are Wi-Fi enabled, autonomously navigating, cleaning, mopping, bot assistance. Neat stuff. But not Neato, that's another brand. Speaking of other brands, it's time I talk about how these Roombas fit into the larger landscape. But I'm gonna challenge myself to do so briefly. 60 seconds or less unscripted to tell you everything you need to know if you are still making a buying decision. This is a segment we call
Briefly Before You Buy.
60 seconds on the clock. Prince, you ready? Set, go. Okay, so in terms of other Roombas, if you're still comparing the J7 to the J7 Combo, the Combo has the mop attachment and it takes an extra chore off your plate, but it does take a little more upkeep on your part. You have to wash that mop attachment, you have to keep the bin filled with water, but again, an extra chore off your plate, so that very much might be worth it. It's the same suction power though. If you want that much more suction power, the S9 actually does more, even though it's a little bit of an older model. It also has the camera on top, so it's pointing up at the ceiling to help it navigate instead of the camera on the front. That might make you feel a little bit more secure, and they both still use visual slam to help them navigate. If you don't want a camera at all, there are models from other brands. So Neato, Roborock, those use LiDAR. So they actually use lasers to find their way around, which is, it's cool because lasers, and also there's no camera, and those can actually be a little bit more efficient. If you don't care about efficiency, there are models out there that can save you a whole bunch of money that use bump navigation. LG, Samsung, Dyson, there's a whole bunch of competitors out there, so weigh efficiency and all that when you're making your decision. And a minute is, time's not linear, right? All right, now that you have your Roomba in hand, let's talk about getting it set up. With both models, this process is very similar. With the Combo, you'll also have that cute little mop attachment we talked about. Set the attachment part aside for now. Find the cord with the accessories part and plug in the base station. Wind the cord behind the base station so it's not sticking out. You don't want your robot to trip. And as prompted by the cardboard instructions you see when you first crack open the box, make sure there is space around the base station. Your vacuum will be able to come and go from that base station on its own as it works. Specifically, Roomba recommends at least 4 feet in front, 1.5 feet of space per side, and 4 feet between the base and any stairs or ledges. Once you've found a good spot and positioned the base station, put the Roomba in place by lining up the metal charging contacts on the bottom of the bot with those on the base and sliding it in. Your robot will take a sec to boot up, and then you'll hear a sound letting you know it's awake and ready to take over the world, your chores, ready to take over your chores. While you wait, download the iRobot Home app. The app will walk you through most of the setup. It'll show you a bunch of terms and agreements. You're gonna agree, because why not? Why wouldn't you? What's the harm? It's not like this robot has a front-facing camera, and pics of you while indisposed could end up on the internet. Yeah, so you might have heard a story about that. And it happened. And this was the exact robot that did it. I mean, not this one, but this model. But that hasn't happened since it was officially released a couple of years ago. Those pics were taken during a beta test and shared with a third party trying to process the images to help the robot get smarter. The third party is the one that leaked the images, and iRobot has since severed relationships with that company. That said, once you connect it, you'll have a chance to turn off image detection. Listen to your comfort level here, but know that you can control your data to an extent, even if you blindly agree to all the digital paperwork. Whether you just doomed the human race to robot overlords, I mean, that's another story. You did not, of course. No aspiring robot overlords here, that's for sure. Speaking of apps, once you get through the terms and agreements, you'll create an account, enable location services for advanced features, we'll talk about those in a second, and then connect your bot to your Wi-Fi network. You'll be prompted to hit the button on the bot at one point, and then it'll finish connecting. You'll name your device in the app, and then the first big steps are done. The app will show you a slideshow to let you know the basics. You'll have the option here to opt into image detection, and then you can start using it. Though you might want to let it finish charging a bit first. You'll see this battery icon right here to let you know how much juice it actually has. And then you'll want to offer the Roomba a tour of your home. It's only polite. To start that tour, you have a couple of options. You can hit this map icon to do a mapping only run. You should definitely do this before attaching the Mop to the Combo so that it learns where you have carpet versus hard floors. With the J7, feel free to map and vacuum at the same time. Just know it's gonna take a little bit longer, which is fair. It's multitasking. But if you want it to get to work right away and not start wandering aimlessly throughout your place, like my coworker Carl when he's confused or bored, just hit new job here in the app and then start now at the bottom and your vacuum is away. Look at it go. Oh no. This says we're supposed to read the enclosed safety info before we start using the vac. I didn't do that. Get down. No, that was actually a fine time for a little laydown, because while your vac's doing the first run, there's not a whole lot of customization you can do in the app until it's done. For that first run though, you want to make sure that your floors are nice and clear. You also want your lights on, or at least make sure your place is nice and bright. It can actually do a decent job of recognizing and avoiding stuff eventually, but do your best to help it have a smooth run for at least the first time. The app says it'll take a couple of passes to learn the place. I mean, maybe if you have a crazy place. It did fine in our office after a single run. Once that run is done, you can access and customize the map it made by going to Map in the app, and then you'll see an option to review your digitally created floor plan. You can start another mapping run right here if it doesn't look right. If it's close enough, hit Start Customizing. Name your map. Maybe it covers your whole home, or maybe this is just your upstairs or your basement. Rotate the map so it makes sense to you. The little home icon is the base station for the vacuum. Use that if you need help figuring out what you're looking at. Then use 2 fingers or the rotation button in the upper right to turn it. Next, you're going to divide your space into rooms. You should notice a few dividing lines already on there. Tap one to move it or rotate it so it fits your door frame. You want these on the threshold of your rooms lined up with the door. Note that you can zoom and rotate the divider as needed. You can add more dividers as you want, and then label your rooms. With all of the names, the map as a whole, the vacuum, the rooms, your Roomba is compatible with Amazon and Google's respective smart assistants, so you can control your vacuum with a voice command to the Amazon Echo smart speaker, for example. To do that, though, you're going to want simple, unique, and recognizable names. It's a lot easier to tell your vacuum to go clean the living room than remembering whether you called it room 3 or room 4, or on the flip side, sending it to clean whatever goofy nonsense you made up that day, like Dancing Porcupine Headquarters 234. You know what? I take that back. Calling your living room Dancing Porcupine Headquarters 234 is a great idea. Who wouldn't remember that? Your map in place, names and all. The app is more robust now. So let's take a tour. Hitting New Job now lets you send it to any number of your existing rooms or clean everywhere. You can then save that job later as a favorite and start that exact selection of rooms more quickly. So Dancing Porcupine Headquarters and the family room together as a group. Scroll down on the main page to create a schedule for your vacuum or see your history of runs. Product Health will show you the status of the various replaceable parts so you know when you need to swap them. Some of these preferences are also on tap when you're selecting a job. Right here on the new job menu, I can switch it from 1 pass to 2 or set a time limit on the job. And over here on the hamburger menu on the upper left, you can find your account and access the smart home menu and sync it with Amazon and Google and such. That same smart home menu lets you set up a cool feature where the vacuum can run when you leave home, for instance, as it tracks the location of your phone. If you tap Map, you'll see what you saved here, and you can use the tabs to edit the room dividers or room labels. You can even switch to multiple maps for multiple floors, but notice that last tab, Zones. Head here and you can create keep out zones to tell the vac to avoid spots filled with your cables, or your stack of porcelain elephants, or other totally normal collectibles. What? Clean zones are neat and relatively new for this Roomba. Use this to create a spot to give extra attention as it works. Like, let's say I eat some Pop-Tarts every day at work, and sometimes I drop some crumbs in the process, an understandable amount of crumbs. I am not a messy eater, thank you. Or maybe nighttime you likes to collect crumbs and put it on a particular spot on the floor, and daytime you doesn't understand this habit any more than nighttime you understands why the crumbs are abnormal, but porcelain elephants? No, that's totally cool. Anyway, clean zones can help erase these frictional lines between your multitude of time-based personalities. I'm pretty sure it talks about that feature on the box. Fortunately, you don't have to create all of these zones yourself, and I'm not just talking about your other personalities helping out. After a run, you'll often get a status report from your bot that looks like this. If you've enabled image detection, you can even see pics of the obstacle areas and review them. You can label each area as a temporary obstacle, a keep out zone, or tell it was imagining things like a collection of porcelain elephants by saying there is no obstacle there. Then you can send the robot back to those spots for a touch-up job if there was an obstacle and you've removed it or the obstacle was imaginary. It'll automatically add keep-out zones to the map in the spots where you indicated there was something real, so you don't have to do as much work if you forgot about one area of cords or chairs with legs that are hard for the vacuum to spot. This process also won't happen every time. Less and less, in fact, as it learns your home and spots it knows to avoid. All right, speaking of avoiding, I've waited long enough. Let's talk about the mop. I'm grouping all of the Mop-specific stuff into this next section. So again, check out the time codes if you don't have the combo and skip ahead. If you do have the mop, let's start scrubbing. Back to the vac itself. After that mapping run, you'll want to install the mopping attachment. Lift up this lip. Fold the attachment in half and look for this piece. Slide it into the bracket on the bottom of the lip and you're done. Note the attachment has some Velcro here, thus the folding, so you can maneuver it into place without it getting stuck. You'll hear a pleasing click when it's all the way in, and then you can let it unfurl and let the Velcro do its thing. After that first run, you'll notice a difference in how some floors appear. As the vac tried to discern what was hard floor and what was carpet, you can actually help it out later as you customize the map, and you have a new option on that Zones tab too. In addition to clean zones and keep out zones, you can add no mop zones, which maybe it missed an area of carpet, or maybe you have some hard floors that you really don't want to get wet. And then you can start a mopping run. When you go to create a new job, you have additional options now under cleaning preferences. You can just use the vacuum if you don't want to mop, but with vacuum and mop selected, you can also decide how much liquid you want it to use. Maybe you want to conserve that nifty little sample as long as possible, or maybe nighttime you was extra generous with the crumbs and you need to douse your tile floors to clean up all of it. As before, you can tell it how many passes you want it to make and then send it away, and then this is cool. You might be thinking, how is a mop pad on top of the vacuum gonna help it clean the floors? Here it is, ordinary vac on carpet action, do, and then it's shifting to the hard floor and mop mode, and whoomp! It's a vacuum transformer when it heads back to carpet, whoomp! Robots in disguise! Well, I guess you know it's a robot from the get-go. It's just disguising its plans for world domination. I mean, it's disguising mopping capabilities. Yeah, that one. It transforms nonetheless. Roomba Alpha Form activate. It's nifty stuff. For maintenance, you'll also need to keep this container stocked with the liquid of your choice or of Roomba's, and this pad is just on here with the bracket and Velcro. Roomba has a spare in the box you can use when you want to stick this one in the washing machine. Otherwise, the maintenance process is the same. So, let me invite back the ordinary J7 folks that skipped ahead. Welcome back, J7 crew. Let's talk maintenance. Now, if any of you bought the version without the base station, you'll need to empty your dustbin after every run. Pop it out and empty it like so. Assuming you have the base station, that common pain point is off of your plate most of the time. Each of these bags lasts for roughly 60 days of cleaning. That estimate is courtesy of iRobot. If you have dirtier floors, maybe swap them more often, and replaceable bags are easy to get, you can just pull out the bag like so and toss it when it's full. Putting in a new one is equally as simple. Every now and then, you might want to give your vac a more thorough clean. Most of the pieces on the bottom are pretty easy to pull off, wipe down, and put back in place. Your robot can recognize and avoid objects now thanks to that front-facing camera. I showed it in action a bit in the app earlier, but really, the upgrade is meant to help your robot pal avoid pet waste in particular. this has been a problem for Roombas for a while, and the J7 series promises to have a fix for it with a guarantee that it won't happen, which can be a big relief, pun only kind of intended, if you have a pet prone to accidents. For other advanced features, I mentioned that it works with voice commands, and hey, you know what's really cool in a smart home? Voice commands! Let's talk accessories. Grab a Nest Hub or a Nest Mini and use Google Assistant to vanquish your robot to the realm of Dancing Porcupine Headquarters 234. No robot could take over the world from that room, that's for sure. At least none have so far. You could do the same with the Amazon Assistant and the Echo line of products. If you have the base station, you'll want some replacement disposable bags and more mop solution with the combo. So most of the accessories for these are pretty obvious. You can also get another filter or edge sweeping brush or main brushes. Almost all of these things fit into the category of not necessary right away, but really nice to have when you do need it. Take care of your robot friends and they'll take care of you. By doing your chores, I mean. Though, let's be honest, if they do take over the world and you are nice to them, maybe an ambassadorship is in your future. It's not bad. Speaking of stuff that isn't entirely bad, this is my coworker and co-host, Carl. We both work for an electronics store in Illinois called Apt. With this channel, our goal is to bring the wealth of electronics and appliance knowledge from the 1,700 plus crew here to help you make the most of your big buying decisions. With that in mind, if you're shopping for accessories, check out the links below. Like and subscribe if you would, that would be a huge help as we aim to grow this channel, and then let us help you. If you have questions about your robot vacuum that I somehow didn't answer in this tidy little video, let me know in the comments and I'll be happy to respond sincerely. And thank you very much for watching, and happy cleaning.